Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this our session number 10 of CA Intermediate Income Tax and GST classes. Okay, so we have been doing salaries topic and now that is over. Now we will go to next topic, that is income from house property. Correct? Let's start with this topic of income from house property. Understand, this is second head of income, isn't it? So I'm writing here session number, it's not 10, it is 11. Okay, session 11, no problem. Yes, so I'm writing here income from house property. Let us slowly steadily start understanding this topic. Very small topic, very easy topic, limited things to be done in this topic. Unlike salary, in salary there were n number of perquisites, and of course there were a lot of allowances, okay, retirement benefits, so many things you have seen in salaries. As compared to that, this topic is a small topic. In 2 to 3 sessions we will be able to deal with it. Okay, so let's try to understand. So sections which cover this topic, which are those sections? So those are sections 22 to 27 of Income Tax Act, obviously. And charging section is always the first section from those set of sections which cover that particular head of income, isn't it? So charging section here is 22. Okay, now what does section 22 say? Okay, what is taxable under this head? So they say that annual value of property which is owned by assessee. So what are the points I am writing? Annual value of property which is owned by assessee will be taxable under this head. What many students feel is that it is rent received receivable that is taxable under this head, but that is not the fact. It is annual value of property which is owned by the assessee that is taxable under this head. Meaning of the word property: property means building or land connected to building. Okay, owned by assessee means the property should not be taken on rent. The property should be the owned property, so it should not be taken on rent. That is the point to be considered. And of course, how exactly to calculate annual value, that's what our discussion is going to be on. Getting it? So imagine there is a property which you own. So on that owned property you might end up paying some income tax. Correct? That income tax, how you will pay? So that income, how it will be computed? So it will be computed under the head of house property in the format which we are now going to see. Okay, so I'll just do the format, do it along with me. Computation of income from house property. So of course, as we do the format, you'll automatically understand that each head has a separate set of deductions. So which exact deductions you will get while calculating this income from house property, that you will understand. You will understand how to calculate that annual value. So all such points will keep on getting clarified. So particulars, and you are making two amount columns. We start with gross annual value. Now you know that annual value is chargeable to tax. Okay, but to calculate that annual value you need to start with something called as GAV, which is gross annual value. From that you will subtract municipal taxes paid by owner of the property. Okay, mind you, municipal taxes should be paid by whom? They should be paid by, yes, you can say owner or you can say assessee. They should be paid by owner of the property during the PY. Mind you, during the PY for which you are doing the calculation. During that PY, that municipal taxes should be paid. In short, you are getting deduction for municipal taxes paid by owner. Yes or no? You are getting deduction for that. After taking deduction for that, you will get net annual value, which is NAV. Getting it? This is your NAV. But don't directly charge to tax this NAV. From that, it is possible to take two deductions. So less deductions under, if you remember, of course you should, that in salaries you got deduction under section 16, 1A, 2 and 3, standard deduction, entertainment allowance and profession tax. Here you are getting deduction under section 24. A is, again there is a standard deduction, but which is at 30% of NAV, and B there is interest on borrowed capital, which is nothing but interest on your housing loan. So when you minus those two things, you are going to get income from house property. Okay, so these deductions, let me take it in the first column. Let me take total of those deductions. So what I get is income from house property. Is the format clear? Did you understand that how many deductions are possible? One, there are two deductions of section 24. Apart from that, there is one deduction of municipal taxes, but they should be actually paid during the PY, and that too by the assessee, that is the owner of the property. So this way you are in a position to get income from house property. Mind you, it cannot go beyond this. Okay, now the question is how to exactly calculate this gross annual value. So give the heading computation of gross annual value. Correct, because mind you, municipal taxes paid by the owner during the PY should be, is the actual fact, it will be given in the question. NAV you can get when you minus municipal taxes from GAV. Standard deduction is nothing but 30% of NAV, and interest on borrowed capital will also be given in the question. So what remains and what needs your efforts is calculation of GAV. So let's first go ahead and see how exactly to compute GAV. See, mind you, understand this way, government could have directly said that charge to tax the rent which is received for the property, charge that to tax. But then what people might do is they might try to hide the exact rent they are getting. So what government does is they say that your actual rent should be compared with the expected rent, and you are supposed to declare that as GAV, whichever is higher of the two. That is the reason why in the first step we calculate something called as reasonable expected rent, RER, and that RER we will compare with annual rent. Annual rent means nothing but actual rent multiplied by 12. but that from that we will minus something called as unrealized rent. Okay, and then we will get actual rent. And third step, you are expected to get GAV, which I told you is higher of 1 and 2. But mind you, so I will first explain you till this point. In short, we are interested in the actual rent. But on the other hand, government says don't depend 100% on actual rent. That may not be the correct figure. Correct? So what check they have put? They have asked us to compare this actual rent with something called as reasonable expected rent and declare whichever is higher as GAV. Now let's understand how to calculate this reasonable expected rent. So what you will do is, you will consider what is the municipal value of the property. Municipal value of the property means every municipal authority will declare the value for the property to levy municipal tax. That is the municipal value. That will be compared with fair value. Fair value means how much rent such type of property will fetch. Okay, that is the fair value, something like fair market value, fair rent value of that property. Correct? So it can be called as fair value, it can be called as fair rent. Then go for whichever is higher of A and B. Government says consider higher of A and B, but they say compare it with something called as standard rent. Compare it what? Compare it with what? With standard rent. This standard rent is given by government as per Rent Control Act. See, it might not be available practically. So if it is not available, then you will say not applicable, and you will just consider A and B, whichever is higher, as your reasonable expected rent. E point will give you reasonable expected rent, which will be lower of, yes friends, it will be lower of C control Z, yes, C and D. Getting it? In short, your reasonable expected rent is, in a single sentence, it is higher of municipal value, fair rent, but cannot exceed standard rent. Now you get GAV, which is higher of 1 and 2, but this is the GAV which is without vacancy. Without vacancy means what we have presumed till now is that the property was let out for all 12 months, because see, we have done actual rent multiplied by 12. So but if property has remained vacant for some months, then you will have to go to fourth step and you will have to less something called as vacancy allowance. You will have to less. Vacancy allowance means rent per month multiplied by number of months for which property is vacant. That is basically vacancy allowance. And after subtracting vacancy allowance, you will get gross annual value if property was yes, if property is vacant for some part of the year. So in short, generally you will have to stop at third step, but if there is vacancy, then go till fifth step to get your GAV. Is the point clear? And of course, as we do the sums, you will obviously understand it in more and more depth. Clear? So whatever 10, 12 sums we do, we each and every point will of course be dealt with. Is it okay till this point? How to calculate gross annual value? Correct. So once you get GAV, you can subtract municipal taxes actually paid. You will get NAV. You can subtract standard deduction. Now remains the question of one, interest on borrowed capital. So let's deal with that also. So give the heading interest on borrowed capital. Okay, what is interest on borrowed capital? Let's try to understand. Okay, I would say refer chart / table for this. Let's try to make one chart or table for this. Yes, tables, charts we have to open. This is our file. 11 pages we have already done tables. Now see this. Let us handle it carefully. See this. We are talking about, wait, yes, we are talking about interest on borrowed capital. Okay, how it is allowed as deduction, that's what we are talking about. Borrowed capital means what? Borrowed capital means what? Borrowed capital means housing loan. Housing loan from bank or from financial institution, or mind you, from private source. Doesn't matter from whom the loan is, for the purpose of taking deduction of 24B. 24B's deduction we are talking about. So housing loan could be from any of this source. Interest could be paid or it could be payable during the PY. Getting it? So it might be said, it might be told to you on 31st March 21, out of 40,000 rupees of interest, 5,000 is still payable. Still you will take deduction of how much? You will take deduction of full 40,000, because interest could be paid or payable, it doesn't matter. Okay, source of loan doesn't matter. But for municipal taxes we have seen that municipal taxes should be actually paid. Now when we talk about loan, the loan could be for purchase of property, it could be for construction of property, or it could be for repairs and renewals of property, including making furniture in the house or something like that. So for all these three purpose, whatever loan you have taken, on that loan whatever interest you are paying or it is becoming payable during the PY, will you be allowed deduction of section 24B? Answer is yes. Purchase, construction, repairs, renewals. Okay, so it's obvious, no? Some expense is being done. For that expense, you are getting a deduction. But mind you, for this there are ceiling limits for deduction. Means not for payment. As I told you always, as I'm always telling you, that limits will be there for deductions and exemptions. They cannot put limit on your spending or on your earning. Limits will be according to Income Tax Act for benefits. So what are the ceiling limit for deductions of section 24B? Let's try to understand that. First of all, good thing is, there is no ceiling limit if the property is LO. LO means let out. For let out, or we will discuss what is deemed to be let out. But for let out or deemed to be let out property, LO, DLO property, there is no ceiling limit. What is the meaning of no ceiling limit? Yes, whatever is the total interest paid, that entire interest can be taken as deduction. So no ceiling limit. Example, interest for PY relevant for your exam, that is 2021 is say rupees 3,50,000. Then how much is deduction under 24B? Exactly. Deduction under section 24B will be entire 3,50,000 without any limit. Is the point very clear to all of you? Then if we talk about for self occupied property, then comes the complication of limits. It's not complicated, but there comes up limits. Self occupied property, what exactly it is, we will discuss. As of now, with from name, whatever you can understand, interpret it, it is occupied by assessee himself or herself, is self occupied. There are two possibilities in which I am bifurcating for sake of understanding limits. First is the self loan for the self occupied properties for the purpose of repairs and renewals. Correct? What is the purpose of the loan? Loan is for repairs and renewals. Limit is 30,000 rupees per annum. So no need to give you example. Suppose 50,000 rupees is the interest. Then how much will be allowed as deduction? Yes, suppose 50,000 rupees is interest, then deduction under section 24B will be rupees 30,000. Some students say that means 20,000 will become taxable. My dear friend, it's not like that. Benefit of deduction will be limited for 30,000. That is the meaning. How much you paid / how much is payable as interest? 50,000. But how much you will get deduction is only 30,000. Okay, that is the interpretation of that. Second possibility is the loan is for construction / acquisition, means purchase of property. Then there are two possibilities. Okay, first possibility, we have very less space left. Let's try to adjust in that. First possibility is that loan date, mind you, when is the loan taken? Loan date is before 1/4/1999. If loan date is before 1/4/1999, again limit is 30,000 per annum. Second possibility is that loan date. What is the loan date? On or after 1/4/99. Then the limit is good enough, that is rupees 2 lakhs. That is how this particular issue is there. Of course, 2 lakh is per annum. Getting it? So many students will afterwards forget that for LODLO there is no limit. Once you understand 30,000 and 2 lakh, you get so much carried with that you forget that for LODLO there is no limit. Remember that. That's why we have done a special bifurcation. So A, self-occupied, B, LODLO. LODLO, no ceiling limit, only for self-occupied, ceiling limit. Remember two figures, 30,000 and 2 lakhs. 30,000 in these two cases, 2 lakhs in another cases. Yes, remember this particular per annum criteria is not house wise, it is not loan wise, it is assessee wise. So if say there is one assessee, correct, who has one loan which is for yes construction or purchase of house, another loan which is for repairs renewals of house, then overall amount together cannot exceed, I am assuming both houses are self occupied, overall amount cannot exceed 2 lakhs, and the inner limit for interest on borrowed capital with respect to renewals loan will be 30,000, but overall cannot exceed 2 lakhs. Yes, if assume that one of the property for which loan is taken for construction is taken before 1/4/1999, then the limit will be 30,000 rupees. And for the repairing property, repairing loan, it will be again 30,000. So overall, it cannot exceed 60, and each case it cannot exceed 30,000. This way, all these issues are there. So I hope you have got it. SO, DLO, and all these issues are now clear. You must have taken this down also. Many examples coming up, so don't worry at all. Chalo, let's continue. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you. Okay, see if you understand it. Types of houses. I am telling you something about, because we referred to LO, DLO, self-occupied and all. So you should be acquainted with that. So types of houses, or you can say classification of houses. Types of houses for understanding income from house property. That is the heading. I hope you understood the heading. Now please understand what could be types of houses. As you have understood, houses could be self-occupied, house could be let out, house could be deemed to be let out. Yes or no? DLO, LO, SO. Understood? So we'll call it as SO, LO, DLO. Correct? And I would like to tell you one more thing, and I would just conclude it immediately. That is, house used in own business, or profession. So mind you, it is very simple for that thing, because it will not be chargeable to tax. It will not be chargeable to tax under the head income from house property. As simple as that. So if you get a house in which assessee is carrying out his own business or profession, understand, don't consider it under the head of house property. It's a utilized house now. So what is happening is, using that property we are carrying out business profession from which we are earning income, which is automatically taxed under the head of PGBP. Okay, and while calculating that PGBP, we are not subtracting notional rent. That is sufficient. So in short, that's why they say don't tax it under the head of house property. Whatever income was supposed to be taxed, it is by default automatically taxed under the head of PGBP. Okay, so in short, no treatment. In simple wordings, no treatment under any head of income. That is the point you should understand for house, that is property used in own business or profession. Okay, self-occupied. Mind you, very important point, any two houses can be shown or you can say declared as self-occupied by the assessee. And you focus on the word any. Any means it is his choice. Any. And how many? Two. Very important. Houses can be declared as self-occupied by assessee. So it will be whose choice? It will be choice of the assessee. So if assessee is having 4 houses, he will select which two can be shown as self-occupied. Okay, let out means houses or house which is actually what? Given on rent. What is important in self-occupied houses? There is ceiling limit under section 24B. Okay, for let out there is no ceiling limit under section 24B. Yes or no? Okay, one more thing you understand. In self-occupied houses, very important thing, NAV is always nil. That's why assessees may find it beneficial to declare house as self-occupied, because NAV will be nil. See, if NAV is nil, you cannot take municipal tax. Okay, directly NAV is nil. Means GAV don't consider, municipal tax don't consider, NAV nil. Standard deduction will be nil, of course, 30%. But you can take interest on borrowed capital. So in short, in case of self-occupied property, there will be either, yes friends, nil income or negative income, that is loss. Is it good or bad? Loss is very good when it is a loss under income tax, because in high income means pay tax, loss means something allowed to be set off, so it will take your income down. So yes, you're paying interest. Because of paying that interest, there will be interest on borrowed capital, and that will lead to loss from house property. So self occupied property will have either nil income or negative income. Correct? Fine. Now understand. And that is exactly the logic why there is a ceiling limit of 24B, because that loss should have some limit. Okay. Now deemed to be let out property means what? Only, you know, two houses can be SO. Okay. Hence, if SSE has more than two houses which are not LO, then what will SSE do? Which are not LO, then SSE will declare any two houses as, yes friends, SO, self occupied, and others will be, yes friends, and others will be deemed to be let out. Mind you, no ceiling limit. No ceiling limit with respect to, we have become very professional now with respect to section 24B. So see, when you start talking in section terms, it's fantastic. Correct? And one more issue is there here. Here, GAV, see, something is not possible to be found out in DLO. What is that? Actual rent is absent. Means second step, actual rent is not there. So directly reasonable expected rent is GAV. So here GAV is nothing but reasonable expected rent. Correct? So this is about description of types of houses. So I hope you have taken it down. If not, pause the video, take it down. Okay, I'm assuming that you have taken it down. Shall we go ahead? Did we understand all the things till now? Yes, no? So far, so good. We have come up a long way to understand, first of all, what is taxable under this head, then to understand the exact format, then to understand how to calculate GAV, then to understand how calculation or what exactly is interest on borrowed capital, and then we have understood classification of houses. Okay, so keep all these things in mind, and we are now ready to deal with some questions. Yes or no? Yes. So let's deal with some questions. So what I'm telling you is, go to your question bank and let's not do the first question right now. It is very simple. Let's start with something, you know, something good. Okay. So I will do one thing, I'll only give you one question, one brand new question I'll give you, take it. Okay, okay, okay. We have to do one good question. So, we'll do such a question where this SSE will have three houses and you will have to take a decision that which two will be self occupied. Because what I am going to do is, I am going to say that all these three houses are, yes, I'm going to say that all these three houses are self occupied, meaning to say none of them is actually given on rent. So three are not given on rent, but only two can be shown as self occupied. So one will have to be deemed to be let out. Now which two have to be self occupied depends on you. Okay, because that depends on SSE. So in short, you have to take an informed decision. Okay, not akkad bakkad bombay boo, you have to take an informed decision. Okay, not by chance. So how will you take that decision? If I tell you that there are three houses which are not let out, so any two houses you can show as self occupied. So what you will do? How many permutation combinations are there? Think. Suppose we are talking about house 1, house 2, house 3. First possibility is house 1, house 2 are self occupied, house 3 is deemed to be let out. Second possibility is house 2 and 3 is self occupied, house 1 is deemed to be let out. And last possibility is 1 and 3 is self occupied and 2 is deemed to be let out. So there are three options. You will literally calculate income from house property under all three options and select that option where income from house property is least, because lower the income from house property exposed to tax, better it is for the SSE, because lower tax liability. And if there is a loss happening, then you will select that option where loss is highest, because more the loss, more the possibility of set off. Let's do it. While writing the question, please think about all the facts. So this is your example number 1. Why I am taking this example? Because it will include 3 times computation of GAV, because for 3 different houses. Yes, lot of conceptual clarity you will get. You will be in a position to apply ceiling limits of 24B also. Okay, so take this. G has 3 houses. Very good. G has 3 houses, all of which are self occupied. All of which are self occupied. Particulars of the houses for the PY 2021 are as follows. Let's check. Particulars, and you want house 1, house 2, house 3. Particulars, house 1, house 2, and house 3. All figures in rupees, obviously. Figures in, yes, please, rupees. Start with municipal valuation. For what thing this municipal valuation will be useful? For calculation of GAV. Correct. It is 3,60,000, and finally 3,30,000. 3,60,000, 3,30,000. Next is fair rent. Again, it is given in per annum terms. 3,75,000, 2,75,000, and 3,80,000. After that, standard rent again given is per annum 3,50,000, 3,70,000, and finally 3,75,000. This is your standard rent. Next, date of completion slash purchase. So date of completion slash purchase is 31st March 1999, 31st March 2001, and finally 1st April 2014. Mind you, these things might not affect your calculation. Next, municipal taxes paid during the year. Municipal taxes paid during the year. Of course, paid by the owner because they are not given on the rent at all. 12%, 8%, 6%. May I know this 12%, 8%, 6% is of what? It is of municipal value. Interest on money borrowed for repairs of property. Interest on money borrowed for repairs of the property during current year. Okay, mind you, it is only for second house, which is 55,000 rupees. Sorry, 55,000 rupees. Only for house 2. And lastly, you have interest for current year. Interest for current year on money borrowed in July 2014 for purchase of property. This is only and only for third house, which is 1,75,000. This is how the facts of the question stand. Question is compute. What you have to compute? G's, income from house property for AY 21, 22, and suggest. What you have to suggest? Which houses should be opted suggest which houses should be opted by Ganesh, Ganesh means G, uh, to be assessed as to be assessed as self-occupied, so that his tax liability is minimum. That's what we are going to do. Is it clear to all of you? Yes. So what I told you, that how will you go about it? You will have to first, what you'll have to do, you'll have to first calculate, mind you, income from each house, and then you'll have to see house 1, house 2 SO, house 3 DLO, house 1 DLO, house 2, house 3 SO, and then house 1, house 3 SO, house 2 DLO. But to do this permutation combinations, you will first need to have income from house property from each house, assuming that that particular house was, yes, rented, that is deemed to be let out. So give the write down. Let us first assume that each house is deemed to be let out. Let us first assume that each house is deemed to be let out and compute income from house property for each one of them. For each one of them. Yes or no? Let's do that. Particulars, and can we do the calculation together? Okay, particulars, house 1, house 2, house 3, all figures in rupees. What I would tell you is set the format. You know how to set the format. Gross annual value less municipal taxes paid by owner, that will give you net annual value less deductions under section 24. A, standard deduction at the rate of 30% of NAV, and B, interest on borrowed capital, that will give you income from house property. That is how you have to set the format. Correct? Slowly, steadily, you are going to get acquainted with the format. Don't worry about it. Already you must have got to it. You all are smart students. Okay, this is your format. Let's try to understand now that what is the interest on borrowed capital, that directly you can put it. For house 1 there is no interest on borrowed capital. Check your sum. For house 2 there is how much? 55,000. You can take full 55,000. Why? Deemed to be let out, no ceiling limit. Third house, it is 1,75,000. Correct? Then municipal taxes paid by owner of the property. Understand what you will do. certain percentage is given. For house 1 it is 12% of 3 lakhs. Three lakh into 12%. So is it 36,000? For second house, see 8% of 3 lakh 60,000. What is 3 lakh 60,000 into 8%? 28,800. Check. And finally, for house 3, it is 6% of 3 lakh 30,000. What is 6% of 3 lakh 30,000? Is it 19,800? Fine. Now see what happens. You can calculate NAV, but before that, what you need is GAV. So working note, computation of gross annual value. So again, what I would tell you is make particulars and 3 amount columns. Make particulars and 3 amount columns. Again, all figures in rupees. Okay. You know that we are calculating GAV for DLO houses. Yes, for DLO houses. So what happens is RER is equal to GAV. So I'm just putting it here for you so that you remember it. So let's calculate reasonable expected rent. Start with A point, fair rent. Do I know what is the fair rent? Fair rent is 3,75,000, 2,75,000 and 3,80,000. Then take municipal value. Municipal values are 3,60,000 and 3,30,000. Go for higher of A and B. Higher of A and B is 3,75,000, 3,60,000 and 3,80,000. Now go for standard rent. Check your standard rent is 3,50,000, 3,70,000 and 3,75,000. Correct? Now go for lower of C and D. That itself will be your reasonable expected rent. That itself will be your GAV. Check your answers are 3,50,000, 3,60,000 and 3,75,000. Check. Complete it and tell me once you do till this point. Oh, am I obstructing your vision? Okay, I'll move here. Yes. Got. Chalo, let's go ahead. Take these figures as your GAV. Take these figures as your GAV. Okay, once you have taken these figures as your GAV, calculate your NAV. Take your time, do it on your own calcs, calculate your NAV. Take also standard deduction. And get your income from house property. Take your time and complete this, but do it perfectly on your own calc. I'll give you about 2 to 3 minutes to complete it. Check the figures. Whether your final income from house property for all the three houses, assuming they are deemed to be let out, is for house 1 2,19,800, for house 2 1,76,840, and for house 3 73,640. Yes, if done, can we go ahead? Yes, so let's go ahead. Now write down any two houses at the option of the assessee can be shown as self-occupied. Continue, full stop. Those two houses will be selected to be shown as self-occupied, of whose, or you can say where, total income from house property is least. Correct, is least. Various options can be worked out as follows. Can be worked out as follows. Okay, mind you, one new thing you are going to understand. Let's see what it is. Various options can be worked out as follows. Option 1, house 1 and 2 is self occupied, and of course house 3 is deemed to be let out. Is this option clear? House 1 and house 2 is self occupied and house 3 is deemed to be let out. What you do is particulars and single amount column is, I think, okay. Or let's do one thing, safe side, do 2 amount columns. Fine. Understand. House 1. How is house 1? Self occupied. So when we are talking about self occupied property, You know its NAV is nil. NAV is of course nil. Is there any interest on borrowed capital in house 1? Further, no interest on borrowed capital. Correct. So finally, its answer will be nil. Its answer will be nil. What about house 2? Again, it is self-occupied. So can you please guide me for house 2? Of course, NAV is nil. After NAV, what is interest on borrowed capital? So I will say NAV is nil. Yes. Interest on borrowed capital is rupees actually 55,000, but restricted to rupees 30,000 under section 24B. Why? Under section 24B, as loan is for, is the loan for repairs? As the loan is for repairs and renewals in case of SO house. In case of self-occupied house. So there has to be limit. That limit is 30,000. So that 30,000 directly will be the loss. Accepted? Why it will be loss? NAV nil. Standard deduction nil. Directly interest on borrowed capital negative 30,000. So loss of 30,000. And now can you guide me for house 3, which is DLO? So directly you have already calculated. Take that figure. Check here. 73,640. Yes or no? Already we have done the hard work. So now tell me what is total income from house property under this option. Yes, friends. So what you will do is, you will take set off of 30,000 from 70,640 and check whether your answer is 43,640. Check. Yes, no? It may happen that in other options, HP income will be much lower than this. May happen, I am saying. So let's try those also. Option 2. Okay, what should we take as option 2? We'll take as house 1 and house 3 is self-occupied. And house 2 is deemed to be let out. I want similar format, particulars and 2 amount columns. Yes. Tell me once you all are done with it. So tax will not remain a problem for you at all. It will be opportunity to score good. House 1. House 1 we are showing as self-occupied. No need to again explain you. 0. House 2 you are showing as, mind you, DLO. Already we have calculated its income when it is DLO. Check. We have calculated it as, where is it? 176,840, isn't it? Check here, 176,840. And finally, house 3. House 3 is again self-occupied. When house 3 is self-occupied, understand very properly, NAV will be equal to nil. Okay, interest on borrowed capital is how much? Yes, is rupees 1,75,000, and mind you, loan is for, is the loan for what? Loan is for construction. Okay, purchase. Loan is for purchase taken on or after 1/4/1999. Therefore, limit is, nice limit is there. Yes, limit is rupees 2 lakhs. Hence, allowable deduction will be, yes, allowable deduction will be rupees 1,75,000. So take that. That will directly be a loss. You know in what sequence it will be a loss. NAV nil. So standard deduction will be nil. Interest on borrowed capital negative 1,75,000. So loss of 1,75,000. So what will be your total income from house property under this option? Will it be 1,840? So best now you will have to pay tax only on 1,840. Yes or no? Now going to last option, that is, now obvious option is pending, that is house 1, nay, house 2 and 3 is self occupied and house 1 is, yes friends, deemed to be let out. In tax class you will never get time for self thinking, means you will not get time to look here and there and all, lot of figures are involved, so you'll always be engaged only. So house 1, house 1 is DLO. When it is DLO, what is the income from house property? It's 2,19,800, isn't it? Now some very important learning coming to you. After getting that learning, please note it in the top margin. See what is that learning. House 2 is how it is? Self occupied, and now no need to tell you, loss from it is 30,000. Yes or no? Already you know why. Take it in first amount column please. And you know house 3, when it is self occupied, how much is loss from that? Yes friends, 1,75,000. Again in first column, please take total of both in first column. Yes, but very important learning is restricted to rupees 2 lakhs as total loss from two self occupied houses together. What is the spelling of together? This is correct? Check. T. Okay. Sometimes while thinking about tax, I keep on forgetting about spellings only. Okay, anyways. This alphabets only seem new to me, okay? Sometimes while doing tax, in that flow, this happens. I don't know, it happens only with me. Together, together, yes, together is very good. Yes, yes. As total loss from two self-occupied houses together cannot exceed rupees 2 lakhs. So you have to take 2 lakhs only. So now tell me, what is your total income from house property in this option? Total deduction. As total, yes, let's say deduction total. It will have same implication here as total deduction from two self-occupied houses together cannot exceed rupees 2 lakh, of course, per annum for per SSC. Okay. So what is total income from house property? It should be 19,800. Now you'll only think which option is best, and also introspect whether you have understood or not. Yes. So what I am going to do is I am going to write decision or advice or suggestion or recommendation or conclusion. It means one and the same. Decision will be option 2 should be selected as it has lowest income from house property. That is in option 2. See, option 2 is what you have named it. But what is option 2? That is house 1 and 3 is to be declared as self occupied and house 2 as, yes friends, deemed to be let out. Yes. Is it very clear to all of you, this question? So many things will get clear if you understand this question. Lot of chances of they putting you such a question. Lot of chances. I'll not be surprised if it is put up without changing figures. I hope you have done it. Whatever point is pending, just put a pause on your screen and complete it. Some writing is not pending. Solutions, if it is pending any point, you can put a pause and complete it. If working note part is pending, again you can put a pause and complete it. If any of the option is pending, you can put a pause and complete it. So at each screen I am waiting for some time, so you can put a pause and complete it. So this completes our first of the question in the topic, okay, which covered multiple concepts. Shall we go to one more question? Yes, we'll do one more question in this session. Then we'll wind up this session. Next session, do something else from this topic of house property. Now see what I want to do with you. Let's go there in the questions. Go to Jayashri's question. I think it will be easy for you. You have to, in these 5 cases, all houses are let out. This first question we're discussing, Jayashri's question. All houses are let out. You have to just compute GAV in each of the case. Okay. So inputs given are municipal value, fair rent, standard rent. So I think from that you can calculate reasonable expected rent. And second point, that is actual rent received receivable is given. So compare reasonable expected rent and actual rent, and whichever is higher will be your GAV. Very simple question. It is like a starter in the hotel. So give the heading. So we will write here solution to which question it is? First question. So computation of GAV, computation of gross annual value, that is GAV, for each of the 5 houses of, is she Mrs. or Miss? We don't know. Let's assume Mrs. only. So you can focus. Of, you should not be stuck in that. Particulars. Go for house 1, house 2, house 3, house 4, and finally house 5. All figures of course in rupees, please. Chalo, let's do it. So once you get experience of calculating GAV, first step is reasonable expected rent, aka also known as RER. Start with A point, municipal value. May I know what is municipal value? Then B point, fair rent. C point, higher of A and B. D point, standard rent. E point, reasonable expected rent, which is lower of C and D. Second point will be actual rent, or you can say annual rent. And third point will be GAV. GAV is nothing but higher of 1 and 2. Chaliye, let's start. Go house by house. $80,000, $90,000, higher is 90,000, standard rent is not applicable. So reasonable expected rent will be 90,000 and actual rent is 72,000. So GAV is 90,000. Okay, like this you keep on completing and please tell me the final answers. I give you opportunity to do this. Your level has gone much beyond this simple things. House 2, 55,000 is municipal value. Fair rent is 60,000. So higher of course is 60,000, but standard rent is 75,000. So reasonable expected rent is 60,000. And 72,000 is your actual rent. So GA will be 72,000. Now house 3, 65,000 is both, so of course higher will be 65,000. Compare that with standard rent of 58,000, so you have to restrict yourself to 58,000, but actual rent is 60,000, so of course GAV will be 60,000. Clear, my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, aspiring chartered accountants? What else should I call you? 24,000, 25,000, 25,000, not applicable, 25,000, actual rent is 30,000, so GA will be 30,000 because it is higher. And finally 80,000, 75,000, 80,000, standard rent is 78,000, so restricted to 78,000. This is 72,000, so final answer will be 78,000. Is it absolutely clear to all of you? Yes. So please complete this. My phone number is flashing below. If you have any doubt, you can call me. I can't say anytime. You can WhatsApp me anytime. I will surely give you a reply. Correct. So for this session, I would say we can conclude, and then in next session we will go ahead in checking some interesting things, like what if there is a co-ownership. Co-ownership means property is jointly owned by me and someone in my blood relation. So in that co-ownership, how income will be calculated? One. Second, we will see if in a single house I have made multiple parts, units. Okay. Thirdly, we will see how exactly unrealized rent treatment is to be done. Okay, we will also see pre-construction period interest. So many things to follow in the next session. Do join. Thank you very much.